Reality is just a delay on don't trust the lag. Pause with that, let it echo. Because that line might be the most important truth you'll hear today. You've been taught to trust what you see, to respond to life as if it were happening now in real time, when in fact the outer world you are observing is simply a projection of your past state of being. The money in your bank account, the messages on your phone, the look on their face, the job, the lack of the job, the number on the scale, all of it is a reflection, not an origin. Neville Goddard said, "Man moves in a world that is nothing more or less than his consciousness objectified." Your 3D world is consciousness frozen in form, molded from your prior assumptions. It is old news. It is done. So why do you keep arguing with it? Why do you panic when it doesn't match your dream? When all it's doing is showing you where you've already been. This is the trap, the loop. You see the 3D world as evidence. You interpret it emotionally. You react. And in reacting, you reinforce the very state you want to leave. Like yelling at a movie screen hoping it'll change the plot, unaware that you're holding the projector in your own hands. If you truly understood that your 3D world is not real in the way you think it is, that it's only a time-delayed echo of a prior inner truth, how differently would you move? How much calmer would you be? You are not here to chase form. You are here to assume identity. The reason most people fail in manifestation is not because their imagination is weak. It's because they are still hypnotized by appearances, still treating the 3D like it's the source, when it is merely the report card of an old state. But here's the transformation that's possible in this video. By the end, you'll stop arguing with the mirror and start changing the face. You'll stop asking, "Why hasn't it happened yet?" and begin to live from, "It already did." You'll learn how to recognize resistance as confirmation, not contradiction, and how to train your nervous system to detect illusions before they hijack your truth. Because this is not about positive thinking. This is not about bypassing pain. This is about stepping into creative authorship and finally remembering who you are. So take a breath, really take it, and let this next truth begin to open you. The world you're living in is already out of date. Let's begin. Reality is just a delay. Don't trust the lag. Think about a star. By the time its light reaches your eyes, it may have already burned out. What you see is not what is, but what was. Light from a past moment traveling through space, still shining, even though the source may no longer exist. This is how the 3D world works. The outer world is light from an old assumption, a thought, a feeling, an inner conviction that once lived in you and has now made its journey into form. Neville Goddard taught this with startling clarity. To be conscious of being is to be alive. And whatever you were conscious of being yesterday, last week, last month, that is what you are seeing now. So if the 3D is delayed light, why are you treating it like a live broadcast? This is where suffering begins. You see a lack, a rejection, a delay, a failure, and you believe it's current. You believe it's a reflection of your identity now, but it isn't. It's a relic. It's not real in the sense you think it is. It's not the cause. It's not the source. It's the residue. And when you react to the residue, you revive the state that produced it. This is why the world doesn't change. Because people get hypnotized by appearances, and instead of dwelling in the state of the wish fulfilled, they start emotionally responding to the ghost of an old self. But what if you could train your nervous system to recognize these ghost signals? What if you could feel the urge to react? The tight chest, the shallow breath, the sudden thought spiral. And instead of panicking, remember, this is just a recycled echo from an old assumption. That's not spiritual bypassing. That's spiritual precision. Here's a practice few talk about. Throughout your day, pause. Place your attention not on the outer scene, but on your inner atmosphere. What state am I in? What story am I believing? Then whisper to yourself, this is just the lag. This is not who I am. You are not meant to navigate life by watching shadows on the wall. You are meant to direct the light. So let me ask you something. Where in your life are you still emotionally negotiating with old versions of yourself? Where are you seeing delay and calling it truth? This is not about denying what you see. It's about no longer being defined by it. Because your power is not in the reflection. It's in the assumption behind the glass. And that assumption lives in you now. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You frown. The reflection frowns back. You smile. It smiles too. You don't try to force the mirror to change. You simply change you, and the image follows. Now, what if I told you that your entire life operates by that same principle? Your relationships, your money, your health, your environment. These are not independent forces. They are mirrors reflecting your assumptions, your states of consciousness, your inner dialogue. Yet most people spend their days arguing with the reflection, hoping it will change first so they can feel differently. But the mirror cannot lead. It can only follow. Neville Goddard put it simply, change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. You do not change the outer world directly. You change you, your inner self-concept, your state, and the world echoes it without fail. But this change doesn't happen once. It must happen moment by moment. Throughout the day, you unconsciously slip into old states, old reactions, old identities. The mind replays what it knows. The body follows, and then the mirror responds. To stop this loop, you must learn what I call the state interrupt. It's a conscious pause, a subtle re-entry into your chosen identity. It can be as simple as placing your hand on your chest and silently affirming, I am. Not what you lack, not what you fear, just I am, the root of all assumption. This simple act interrupts the momentum of the old story. It places you back in the seat of authorship. And the best part? The mirror will follow, but not because you forced it, because you let it. So here's a question worth living with today. Are you reading the mirror or becoming the face? The more you try to analyze your circumstances, the more you empower them. The more you become the inner state you desire, the more the mirror bends quietly in your favor. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is law. And when you finally stop waiting for the reflection to smile first, that is when the world begins to change. Not before, only then. What do you do when the 3D contradicts your desire? You imagine love and get silence. You feel abundance and the bill arrives. You live in the end, and suddenly everything in the outer world seems to collapse. Most people see this as failure. They say, it's not working. They panic, give up, spiral back into doubt. But this moment, the contradiction, is not failure. It is the test. And passing it doesn't look like perfection. It looks like poise. Neville said, persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. He didn't say persist only when it's easy, or persist if the outer world agrees. He said persist, full stop. The test comes not to break you, but to see if you've truly shifted. Think of it like this. When you plant a seed, the ground doesn't look different right away. In fact, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. The soil cracks, the surface looks dry, but underneath, something is unfolding. The 3D will often push back when your new state is taking root. It's the friction of old assumptions being dislodged. It's not a punishment. It's a purge. So, how do you pass the test? You don't fight it. You don't panic. You remember who you are, and you use the tool Neville called I Remember When. Instead of resisting what you see, you mentally place it behind you. You say, I remember when I was still struggling with money. I remember when they didn't text back. I remember when things felt uncertain. And in that moment, you move time. I remember when lifts you out of the unwanted condition and into a version of self where it's already resolved. It's a subtle shift, but it is powerful because the subconscious only knows now. And when you revise the now with feeling, you change the track entirely. So the next time 3D comes in with bad news, don't argue with it. Don't explain yourself to it. Just smile inwardly and say, the test. I know what this is. You haven't failed. You're being asked to hold your new self steady. The 3D can only torment the version of you that still thinks it's real. But you know better now. You know what lives behind the noise. And you remember when you didn't. You ever notice how the 3D throws its biggest tantrum right when you're about to break through? That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. If this is hitting home, if you're starting to feel that spark of, wait, I've been reacting to old news, check the pinned comment. I left something there to flip that moment of doubt into power. Don't miss it. Why inner journaling shapes tomorrow? There's a dimension most people overlook, not because it's hidden, but because it's too close to see. It's the fourth dimension, consciousness, the invisible realm where all things begin, where seeds are planted, characters are formed, and the script of tomorrow is silently written. Neville Goddard called it the 4D, your imagination, your assumptions, your inner conversations, and he made it clear. Your inner speech is perpetually written all around you in happenings. What you consistently tell yourself, feel is true, and rehearse within, the 4D, becomes the material world of the 3D. Not sometimes, always. But here's the question. What's being written in your 4D diary each morning? Most people wake up and immediately check the outer world. Notifications, emails, bank accounts, faces. They read the script of yesterday and unconsciously agree to repeat it. But you don't have to do that. You can write a new inner dialogue the moment your eyes open. Not about what's happening, but about who you are in it. This is the power of conscious journaling, not as a to-do list or dream log, but as a declaration of identity and feeling. You write from the state, not toward it. Instead of, I want to be calm, you write, today I was grounded and still, even in uncertainty. Instead of, I hope they respond, you write, I felt chosen, wanted and secure, and it was natural. This isn't scripting events. It's scripting emotional truths. You're not forecasting the weather. You're setting the climate of your own being. And the 3D will adjust itself accordingly, quietly, without struggle, because the world cannot help but mirror the diary you keep in secret. So ask yourself, what has your inner monologue been repeating lately? And more importantly, what would change if you stopped listening to it and began rewriting it? Your future is not waiting to be discovered. It's waiting to be remembered in you. And the 4D is your access point. Then why 3D resistance means it's working. There's a moment in every transformation when the old world pushes back. You affirm abundance, and unexpected expenses arrive. You imagine love, and silence grows louder. You claim confidence and your body trembles. This is the echo. It's the resistance of a system recalibrating, a reflex from a world still catching up to your new state of being. And while it may feel like rejection, it is often the most reliable sign that your assumption is working. Neville said, truth depends upon the intensity of imagination, not upon facts. And when facts begin to scream, it's not always because you're wrong. It's because you're leaving an old pattern behind. Imagine shifting a deeply rooted belief. It's not quiet. It groans on its way out. The 3D is not attacking you. It's shaking loose the scaffolding of the self you're no longer willing to be. You must learn to interpret the echo correctly. It's turbulence right before takeoff. It's the resistance of a bow just before the arrow is released. And here's the key. Do not mistake noise for truth. If you believe the echo, you reinstate the old state. If you observe it without reaction, it dies from lack of attention. The echo may appear as people misunderstanding you, circumstances contradicting you, or feelings that surge without cause. But none of these are personal. They're mechanical. They are the inertia of the past. What matters is what you know now. So when the 3D begins to stir, when appearances shake your faith, when emotion rises without warning, pause, feel your feet, return to your chosen state. And remember, this is proof, not punishment. It's not falling apart. It's falling into place. The echo will grow louder the closer you get to silence. Let it pass. You're not in the echo. You're in the cause. You've imagined it. You've felt it. You've persisted. But days pass. Nothing changes. Doubt creeps in. And then the question appears. Why is it taking so long? This is where many fall back into the old self. Not because the desire isn't coming, but because they misread the space between assumption and manifestation. They confuse delay with denial, not realizing that the only thing time is waiting for is you. Neville Goddard taught, the interval of time is the delay between the imaginal act and its fulfillment. The length of time is determined by the degree of conviction. In other words, time is not testing you. It's reflecting whether your assumption has fully become your identity. This is not a waiting game. It's a settling process. Like pouring a new foundation, the new state must set. You can't pour concrete and walk on it immediately. You let it harden. The same goes for consciousness. You must remain loyal to the end, even when nothing seems to move. But here's what will accelerate everything. Emotional consistency. When you loop your end scene each day, not just mentally, but with feeling, you are locking in the new state. You are building a nervous system that matches the life you've chosen. This is what I call state locking. You don't visualize just to see something. You feel to become someone. And when you become it, the world must yield. Even if it takes a moment, even if you can't see the roots growing, they are growing. They're adjusting the soil of your assumptions, reorganizing the scenery of your life behind the curtain. So stop checking the outer world like it's a countdown clock. Live the end. Let time do what it must. It's not measuring your worth, it's measuring your embodiment. And when you stop needing the 3D to hurry, it comes faster than you ever expected, because you've already arrived. To live in the end means to feel from the fulfillment of your desire, not toward it. But what most people do is different. They imagine the end, then spend every day looking around to see if it's arrived. They check the 3D world like it's a tracking number on a package, and when it doesn't appear fast enough, they question the entire premise. Neville Goddard said, "Live as though the wish were already fulfilled." That's not metaphor, it's instruction. To live as though means to stop needing the outer world to confirm what you already know. There is a subtle hunger in checking, a desperation disguised as hope. But hope isn't knowing, and checking for results reinforces one thing, that you don't yet have it. Imagine receiving a call telling you that everything you want is yours. The job, the love, the peace, the home. But with one condition, you must not ask about it again. Would you trust it? Would you still wake up trying to see if it's real? Or would you begin to settle into the version of you who naturally has it? That's living in the end. It's not just about visualizing outcomes. It's about becoming the person for whom those outcomes are normal. When you shift your focus from what you're getting to who you are being, you move out of the waiting room and into the role itself. You no longer need proof because you've chosen the position. And here's the paradox. The less you need to see it, the faster it comes. Not because you're avoiding it, but because you've already claimed it internally. So ask yourself now, are you being the one who has or checking like the one who lacks? The outer world is never late. It's just on time for the version of you that holds it without effort. And that version? It's already available now. Don't chase, don't why. Occupy the state now. There is no power in waiting. There is only delay in chasing. You cannot become what you pursue. You only become what you occupy. And most people, without realizing it, spend their days chasing outcomes from the state of not having them, waiting for the 3D to give them permission to feel fulfilled. But waiting is not neutral. It is active resistance. It is the silent affirmation that what you want is not here, and more importantly, that you are not yet the one who has it. Neville Goddard taught, claim it in consciousness, not in effort. That means you stop begging reality to change. You become the reality, and let the world reflect you. When you react to 3D, when you hope it shifts, when you try to force results, you remain a visitor, always knocking on the door, never realizing you already hold the key. So what does it mean to occupy the state? It means to assume the identity of the one who already lives the result. Not just to think it, but to feel it, deep in the body, as natural, as obvious, as done. And one powerful method is what I call the already happened visualization. Instead of dreaming with longing, you remember it as if it's over. You feel the afterglow, the relief, the ordinariness of fulfillment. You don't fantasize about the moment you get the job. You feel the quiet confidence of already working there. You don't imagine the first kiss. You feel the casual ease of being in love. You don't look ahead to wealth. You rest in the stability of being well taken care of. When you do this, something shifts. You're no longer asking, you're remembering. And the body responds. The nervous system relaxes. The mind settles. You're no longer chasing anything. You're just being. And being is the only thing that manifests. So the next time you catch yourself waiting, hoping, checking, pushing, stop, and ask instead, what would I feel if this were already done? Then walk from that place, speak from that place, live from that place, because you don't get what you want. You get who you are. The 3D doesn't have the last word. You do. You've been taught to listen to the world, to treat facts as final and conditions as unquestionable. But what if the 3D wasn't speaking truth at all, just repeating old scripts that you forgot you wrote? Neville Goddard reminded us, your world is your consciousness objectified. That means the world isn't giving you information, it's giving you feedback. It isn't a command, it's a mirror, and mirrors do not speak first. Yet most people give the outer world complete authority. They see a bank account, a relationship status, a diagnosis, a delay, and take it as the final word. But the 3D doesn't get the last word. You do. The real question is, do you answer the 3D or do you obey it? When something in your outer world challenges you, contradicts your desire, or provokes fear, what's your internal response? Do you collapse into agreement? Or do you respond silently with a new truth? Because you are allowed to speak back, to rewrite the line in the moment it's delivered. This isn't denial, it's authorship. You might see the number in your account and think, that's not the full story. You might hear their silence and feel, but I am still chosen. You might face a delay and affirm, "This is already resolved." The 3D is a loud voice with no intelligence of its own. It only knows what you once assumed, and it keeps echoing it until you change the cause. Think of it as a delusional character in a play who doesn't know the script has changed. Don't argue with it. Don't debate it. Just move forward as the new author, and keep the pen in your hand. So the next time reality speaks, listen closely, and then speak your truth back. Not with noise, not with panic, but with quiet certainty, because reality only echoes. It does not lead, and your assumption is the final word. Rehearsing reactions creates reality. There is a quiet law running beneath everything you do. Not the loud moments, not the bold affirmations, not even the imaginal scenes you script before sleep, but the subtle, repeated reactions you carry in your body throughout the day. Most people never examine these reactions. They say, "I want success," but rehearse fear. They say, "I desire love," but rehearse abandonment. They imagine the end once, then spend the rest of the week emotionally preparing for the opposite. And what they don't realize is this: you are always rehearsing something, and the 3D world is simply following your lead. Neville Goddard said, "Your reactions to life, your inner talking, are the causes of future action." This is not poetic advice, it is mechanical truth. Your emotional responses, especially the ones you practice unconsciously, shape the experiences you call reality. Why? Because your reactions reveal your state of being, and your state is the creative cause. When someone says something critical and you immediately shrink inside, that is a rehearsal. When you check your bank account and feel dread before even seeing the number, that is a rehearsal. When you imagine a future event and feel anxious, defensive, or unseen, that is a rehearsal. You are preparing yourself for the very thing you say you don't want, not through your conscious desire, but through your practiced identity. Here's the paradox. It is not enough to desire a different outcome. You must become the one who automatically reacts from a different state. This is the deeper meaning behind Neville's teaching. Your world is your conditioned consciousness, objectified. The word conditioned is crucial. It points to repetition, familiarity, a rehearsed internal environment that eventually hardens into fact. So how do you change it? Start by noticing what you habitually feel in response to specific triggers: money, silence, attention, rejection, praise. These responses are not neutral. They are scripts being run inside of you, quietly programming your future. Then, begin a new kind of rehearsal. Not by suppressing your feelings or faking positivity, but by gently inviting new emotional patterns to take root. This is not about pretending. This is not about plastering affirmations over a shaky identity. It is about practicing the emotional tone of your desired self until it becomes your normal. For example, if you desire financial freedom, don't just visualize the money. Rehearse the emotional steadiness that someone with that security feels. Move through the day with the grounded ease of "I am always supported." Let your breath slow. Let your decisions reflect that certainty. If you long for deep, lasting love, stop rehearsing heartbreak in your mind. Don't replay how they might leave or how it went wrong before. Instead, rehearse the stillness, the comfort, the quiet warmth of being loved, and of loving back without fear. Neville often spoke of imagining not the act itself, but the feeling of relief and naturalness that follows it. This is the emotional rehearsal that carries power, not the drama, but the ordinariness of fulfillment. That sense of course, this happened. Of course, this is mine. And don't underestimate the power of repetition. Just like an actor learns a script through practice, you will learn this new self through emotional rehearsal. You won't always get it perfect. You will forget. You will be tempted to fall back into the old role. But keep returning, because the subconscious accepts what is familiar. It doesn't care whether it's true, it cares whether it's rehearsed. So ask yourself right now, and ask honestly, what emotional reactions am I repeating again and again? Are they reactions from the state I wish to occupy or from the state I wish to leave? The 3D world is not testing you. It's agreeing with you. It takes its cues from your internal performance, not the lines you say out loud, but the energy behind them, the part of you that responds when no one is looking. So rehearse wisely, not for the world you see, but for the one that's waiting to be written. Because what you rehearse, you become, and what you become, you inevitably live. Revision is not only about rewriting what happened yesterday, it's about reclaiming authorship now. Neville Goddard said, "Change the feeling of the past and you change your future." But that change doesn't need to wait until the day is done. Revision can happen in the moment, the instant you feel yourself slipping into an old reaction. Someone says something that stings. A fear rises in your chest. An unwanted scene unfolds before you. Rather than absorb it, you pause and choose. What else could this mean? What version of me would I prefer to be right now? That's revision, not denial, but deliberate perception. You're not revising the facts. You're shifting the meaning you assign to those facts. And meaning, more than memory, is what programs your subconscious. Instead of replaying discomfort at night, revise as you go. If the conversation feels off, revise it while the energy is still fresh. If the day begins in doubt, shift your inner monologue before it solidifies into mood. The power of revision lies not in fixing the past, but in interrupting the emotional momentum of unwanted states. You are not bound by what happened. You are bound only by what you continue to believe about what happened. And the moment you choose a new meaning, your state changes. And with it, your reality follows. Revision, at its core, is simply this: the refusal to let the 3D world have the final say on who you are becoming. When the 3D hurts, go deeper, not louder. Pain in the 3D is not a punishment. It's a message. When something in your outer world stings, a rejection, a delay, an unexpected turn, it's tempting to react, to spiral, to shout back at reality. But louder reactions don't change the state. They only reinforce it. Neville Goddard taught, "The world is yourself, pushed out." So when the world hurts, it's not attacking you. It's revealing you. More specifically, it's revealing the assumption you've been living in, often without knowing it. The wiser response is not to fight the reflection, but to ask a deeper question. What must I be assuming to feel this way right now? Maybe the pain of being ignored reveals a deeper belief. I am not chosen. Maybe the fear of loss uncovers the assumption. I always get left behind. The outer event didn't create the feeling. It exposed the state you were already living from. This is where real transformation begins, not by fixing the outer, but by replacing the inner identity that made it feel personal. The 3D cannot hurt who you truly are. It can only hurt the version of you still attached to the illusion. So when the moment arrives and it stings, don't go louder. Don't defend, explain, or demand. Go quieter, go deeper, trace the pain to its root, and revise the assumption behind it. Because once the state changes, the scene must follow, and the one who no longer reacts is already free. You are the source. The 3D world isn't current. It's memory, frozen light from a state you've already outgrown. Neville Goddard said, "Your world is your consciousness objectified." That means the outer world is not a source of truth, but a reflection of what you've been assuming. It's not leading, it's following. Throughout this journey, you've seen how to stop reacting to the old echo. You've learned to return to the only place that ever creates anything real, your state of being. Whether through "I remember when," daily inner scripting, or quiet assumption, you now understand that the 3D bends to identity, not effort. That nothing needs to change outside until something changes within. So let this be the moment you stop asking the world for permission. Stand in your new state without checking for signs. Let resistance pass without naming it as failure. Speak inwardly from the version of yourself who already has what they used to want, and watch the world conform. Because it must. The world isn't personal, it's mechanical. It mirrors the feeling you dwell in, and the one who stops reacting becomes the cause. Now, if you've made it this far, something in you is ready for more. Check the pinned comment. There's something waiting there for the part of you that already knows this isn't just theory, it's practice.